For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. And we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. We have vowed that we shall not see space filled with weapons of mass destruction, but with instruments of knowledge and understanding.
The video you just saw of John F. Kennedy, America's 35th president, marked the beginning of a turning point in the space race. July 16, 1969 saw the Apollo 11 spacecraft carrying the astronauts Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins II as American representatives demonstrated their nation's abilities by becoming the first men to set foot on the lunar surface. Their rights, as well as the participating scientists' unique opportunities as people of the United States, coupled with their responsibilities as pioneers of technological advancement, contributed to the achievement that solidified the United States as one of the most powerful countries in cosmic studies. The world saw the start of the space race when the Soviet Union sent the first satellite into orbit on August 2, 1955. Many famous breakthroughs were seen from both the USSR and America, though none could shine a light next to Apollo 11 mission on July 20, 1969, where previously mentioned astronaut Neil Armstrong became the original individual to witness firsthand the lunar surface. This breakthrough from the States brought the end to the rivalry on July 17, 1975, where the US was declared winner after roughly 20 years. But how was this mission successfully accomplished, especially during a time where such a thing was deemed impossible? As the space race was taking place in America, so was the civil rights movement. Many colored individuals participated as engineers and scientists to not only assist in the launch of the Apollo 11, but also to prove their worth as equal to other specialists in their accomplishments during their time in its development. Vice President at the time Lyndon Johnson believed that racial inequality stemmed from poverty, and in turn created many jobs that were once unavailable to minorities before. This included NASA, with Kennedy's endorsement for the program to choose certified African Americans to become astronaut apprentices, something that gained widespread acknowledgement and the title of progress among this movement for equality. Though they were supposed to welcome the individuals arriving to assist in cosmic studies, it's important to note that they still found discrimination towards their race. Color workers were unable to use the same bathrooms as their white colleagues, showing the deep segregation they still had to go through. Despite the difficulties they were faced with, the new astrophysicists persevered through the injustice and pushed the message for liberty for all Black U.S. citizens in their line of work. I don't have a feeling of inferiority. I never had. I'm as good as anybody, but no better, says Katherine Johnson, an African-American woman who assisted as a mathematician during the landing of the Apollo 11, including helping with the calculations that assisted in sinking the Project Apollo's lunar module with a lunar orbiting command and service module. She participated in calculating the trajectory needed to get the pilots to and back from the moon. They proved to be crucial contributions with the synchronization of the two spacecrafts, allowing them to correctly recombine as one after the moon landing and return to Earth together. Another outstanding scientist, Margaret Hamilton, led the software engineering division of the MIT Instrumentation Laboratory, which created the flight software coding for the same orbiter. Her works as a director later helped guide astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin in their landing of the lunar module Eagle onto the lunar surface after their checklist had been set at Harvard such inaccurately, displaying her skill and competence as a female computer professional. As stated by Margaret herself, because software was a mystery, a black box, upper management gave us total freedom and trust. We had to find a way, and we did. Looking back, we were the luckiest people in the world. There is no choice but to be pioneers. The independence they were given to work freely was not just a symbol of the developing improvement for colored and female workers, but as the American right of liberty towards the pursuit of happiness to discover and innovate without burden. Hamilton's and Johnson's contributions towards the making of the Apollo 11 proved to be crucial and proficient. Their endurance and ultimate victory against prejudice, showing the true patriotic ideals of equivalent rights for all citizens who seek their desired career with no setbacks from their appearance or gender.
Amongst the skilled researchers we covered, one thing they and all others of NASA at the time shared was the heavy responsibility to ensure victory for America in the space race. This included the success of the Apollo 11, a creation that requires intricate and complicated arrangement of engineering with life support system, navigation, and communication features. To ensure the win for the United States, those building its blueprint recognized the importance of surpassing the models of the Soviets. Though the USSR were previously winning this competition with many impressive models, the workers were still hopeful to create a shuttle of a better design, though they were faced with many issues. According to Building Apollo by Astronomy.com, the author, Amy Shira Tatel, wrote, Apollo mission planners believed that the simplest mission profile or mission mode was direct ascent, in which a craft would go straight to the moon, land, and return. The entire spacecraft would have to land upright on the moon. That single spacecraft would also have to carry the propellant necessary to launch from the moon's surface and generate enough velocity to return to Earth. Not only was this option complicated, but it involves a heavy payload that would need a massive, not yet developed rocket named Nova to get off the ground. Our analysis displays the different calculations and strategies the engineers of America had to solve in order to have the Apollo 11 mission executed successfully. More important outside of the planning arised, however, as shown on May 25th of 1961, when President John F. Kennedy states, "A single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind, or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish." Shows the expedition to the moon was not only challenging to make for researchers, but also very expensive. Despite the setbacks, those at NASA persevered through the budget and still achieved a triumphant capsule, in harsh contrast to the USSR. According to Smithsonian Mag, the author wrote, all along, the Soviet moon program had suffered from a third problem: lack of money. Massive investments required to develop new ICBMs and nuclear weapons so that the Soviet military could achieve strategic parity with the United States, siphon funds away from the space program. This was a crucial problem to them because building spacecrafts takes a lot of money, and since the USSR does not have enough funds, they cannot create efficient rockets, as seen in the repeated failure of the testing of the N-1, impacting their progress towards creating a design that would support a human landing on the lunar surface.
Beyond the calculations and preparations on Earth, more responsibilities awaited those on board. Neil Armstrong, mission commander of the Apollo 11, underwent the immense task to take charge of piloting the spacecraft to and from the moon. Experience from studying aeronautical engineering at Purdue University and flying jet fighters during the Korean War, he and his crew of lunar module pilot Edwin Buzz Aldrin and command module pilot Michael Collins proved themselves skilled in handling the Columbia, powering it and running through their safety checklist at launch and burning through their second rocket while in orbit around Earth. In addition to the obligations of inhabiting technical tasks, they showed the accountability of mental endurance required to be an astronaut of such a monumental purpose. Such an event proved its importance when, as earlier stated, they began seeing alarms by the system when Armstrong mistakenly turned on the wrong settings while he and Edwin were attempting to avoid descending the landing module equal in uneven terrain. The unknowns were rampant. There were just 1,000 things to worry about, Armstrong will later say, naming it as one of his largest concerns. However, they kept calm and trusted the calculations of the computer Margaret had made, cooperating with this information to execute a successful touchdown within their desired location with only 30 seconds of fuel left remaining. Their level-headedness, despite the life-threatening circumstances, is one of the reasons that there was a man on the moon that day. The significance of successful teamwork and the crucial relationship between associates and astronauts displayed its worth, with many from NASA guiding them along their journey to the lunar surface with the sufficient relay of audios and visuals they sent back to their headquarters. With victory secured, the team displayed their expertise. Michael Collins stayed behind in the command module while the other two set foot on the lunar ground, making sure to keep it circling the moon at an altitude of 97 to 121 kilometers. Buzz Aldrin followed Armstrong with his journey to the surface of the celestial body, landing the Eagle alongside him into the Pacific Ocean when they returned to Earth, while Collins once again remained in the Columbia. The astronaut's skill was critical in executing the complex maneuvers required to land and return from the moon, as the first man to have ever set foot on its surface. As Neil Armstrong said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Their accomplishment was a benefit not for just America, but for all of humanity, displaying their country's ideals and the responsibilities that came with setting out to be groundbreaking pioneers they had to overcome. In conclusion, the NASA researchers and astronauts of the Apollo 11 mission, driven by their nation's rights towards principles of equality, helped establish the United States as the leader of the space race. America's racially diverse team of engineers and mathematicians played a crucial role in landing on the moon, with their responsibilities and contributions towards demonstrating the country's commitment to innovation and inclusivity. With the success of the Apollo 11 not only showcasing America's technological superiority over the Soviet Union, but also symbolizing its core values of freedom and cooperation, marking a significant milestone in global cosmic research. It pushed the boundaries of human capability and inspired curiosity to continue exploring space today.